Welcome back, Dire Strategists. We're on, I believe, episode 7 of our first playthrough of Anno 117, and where we left off, we had some decisions to make about what we were going to do for the Emperor. We decided to accept her quest to bring her 2 archers. Right now, we do not have the infrastructure in place for that, but we can get it in place pretty quickly. Before we dive into some of this stuff, the goals for this video, now that we have this island probably in better place than we do our capital, because all the needs of the plebeians are being serviced on our second island and not all the ones are being handled over here. As you can see, we have not started shipping our amphora and our olive oil back quite yet, so that's going to be one of the first things we do. I think our order of events here, we're going to see what Valeria wants, then we're going to get our trade route set up to start sending olive oil from this island to the capital, and then we are going to set up our first military architecture on the capital island, where I believe we have iron fertility. I don't think I would have settled the island if we don't, and we do have it, so we will get that set up on our island here, and we will make those archers for the Empress, because again, if you let time expire and you don't do this, you lose 10 reputation with her instead of gaining 10. That's not something we want. In fact, let's take a look at the diplomacy screen where we can see our current standing with the Empress. You can see that it is at level 11. If you click on her, you'll see some of the benefits for the different tiers. Right now, we have the best standing, which means we're going to be the one that gets these promotions first. We got 10 Empress standing, if you remember, from when we executed that cult leader, so that made her very happy. That gave us 10. If we finish this quest, we're going to have 10 more, so that's going to be nice. I really wish Lichiama would stop talking over me right now. Hopefully you can still hear me a little bit better. So yeah, after we get to our first level, which I believe triggers at 25, it's either 25 or 50, it would make sense that's 25. We'll get an island settlement cost reduction of 25%, which is excellent, because those island settlement costs, depending on the size of the island, once you have a bigger pool of money, can get really, really significant. Some of these other benefits are nice. Rerolling traders are things we can do, but being able to reroll a specific item or a specific niche at a trader can be helpful later in the game when we're looking for specific specialists for our governor's mansions and for our various offices around the island. Our officum, I believe, is what they're called in the game. So that is a really quick tutorial on reputation with the Emperor. Obviously, Tarragon and Licia are both going to be affected by our actions within the game, and with the pirates, or in this game they're called raiders, we're always going to be at war with them from the start. We can eventually get a ceasefire. We can, again, eventually get trade rights, all sorts of things with them. This guy, though, Caeso, can just go, just go take a walk, basically. In fact, we can see in our mini-map, he is black because we took the color red. Thankfully, the game has recognized that and decided to make him a different color. So he has started to send some of his ships out. A couple of them are going to get close to our capital. If he even comes remotely close to our capital with any of that, it's going to get bombarded by our port, which does have defenses. And it won't be too long before we at least put a couple towers down by the beach. So they're probably not going to actually harass our island. What they mostly do when they engage you is harass your trading. And our trading is going to be pretty much from here to here. He's going to have to come deep into our territory to do that, so I'm not crazy worried about that at the moment. Enough talking. Let's go ahead and start time. Let's see what Valeria wants. We are going to... This is a gambling thing, and I saw this in my last playthrough. I'm not going to ruin it, but we will say we will accept Valeria's invitation, because I don't really see a reason not to. Right now, though, we're not going to do it. We're just going to go back to our Emperor request, which is to get our archers going. But before we do that, we are going to get our trade route going. This is our flagship. I believe we have a trading ship already going, which we can use for everything. Oh, it looks like we need to pick new research too. Hold on, I'm going to do that real quick because you always want to be researching something. This is, okay, Villa Retinue is important because this will give us a free Libertas workforce on every island. I certainly want that. Untapped soil. Resin tappers can use meadows. That is a really nice benefit. In general, the economic benefits are superior, I think, at least so far in the research trees. I'm sure this stuff is going to catch up later, but generally the economic stuff is the most useful. Loading speed at warehouses is fine. We don't have a problem. We don't even have our first aqueducts yet, but I would love to give the 50 free plebeian workforce. Again, that's just super powerful to get a workforce without having to provide any needs or any housing at all. So we are going to do water consumption. We are going to take the enhancement to our plebeian workforce, and then we'll look over here and select some more things. Let's see. We don't need multiple officia real quick, but we could use more patrols for both of these, and they're easy, very low cost research. Warehouse reduction in force, that's pretty good. And we will take a little enhancement for some of our military units that we're not using quite yet. So we've got everything queued up. We are going to go to our trade route screen. I think we started using our ship, that's diplomacy, oops. I think we started using our 4-slot ship. We did, just to run Lavender to our feeder island. That's okay, we can make this a 3-part chain where it takes Lavender to our feeder island and it picks up other things to go to our capital. So we need to just put our capital in the equation here. That's going to make a nice loop. And we need to load in Tatervious our finished olive oil product. And we need to load our finished amphora. So we don't need to be running 50 of these over to the capital. We can set a minimum limit that it keeps over on Tatervious, and we're going to do that because we don't want it to run out of these goods either. I am going to just basically tell it to unload all over in the capital when it gets there, but for now, I think all we're really going to need to send over 10 units is going to keep us set for quite some time. We're producing a ton of olive oil and not quite as much amphora, but still more than enough to satisfy 10 units and keep our capital well supplied. There is a way to figure out exactly how much you need to send in a trade route, what you need to do, and you know what, I will go ahead and establish this route real quick and I'll explain it. I'm not going to go into crazy detail, but basically this is showing you how much you're using per minute as far as tons of materials. Let's go over to the capital because that's what we're talking about here. So if we go to the bottom of consumer goods, we can see that we don't even need a full ton of olive oil or amphora yet. So that means we need less than 1 ton per minute of these items in order to supply our capital. With time, we'll be able to look at how long it takes our ship to make its route, and let's just estimate that it's only going to take it about 5 or 6 in-game minutes to go from here to here to here and back. So that would mean if we were using 1 ton of olive oil per minute, we would need 5 tons of olive oil on each shipment to maintain the needs of our capital. Again, we're producing tons of olive oil, we're producing tons of amphora, and I recommend to you not to obsess over these numbers. You can always change, you can always tweak how much gets sent between the two. When you know you have a surplus on a feeder island, you don't need to be obsessive over how much is getting sent to the capital. Just use your best guess, and if you see that the capital consistently has a supply issue, increase it, or if you see it is gaining too much supply and your feeder island is losing too much supply, decrease it. It's that simple. I know that you can definitely do the math and figure it out. I prefer I play this game to relax, and I'm good at math, and I actually like math, but let's just say it's not necessary. It's really not. So we have our trade route set up. That's a beautiful thing to say. The capital will start being supplied very soon with everything. Did I forget? I did not. I just haven't restarted time. Okay. Excellent. So everything is being supplied over here. There was one other thing that I wanted to do. What was it? Must not have been that important. I know I need to start my military chain on the capital. We're just going to go ahead and start time. And that means our deliveries are going to start happening, and everybody's going to be happy on the capital very soon once all that stuff arrives. I do want to eventually get the the marble chain happening here. We're going to save that for later. The most pressing need, now that we have everything going to the capital that we need to make our plebeians happy, we need to make our empress happy. So that means we need to decide where our iron mining operation is going to go. This is where we started some of our industry. This is gonna, if we start putting our weapon industry over here, that's gonna create a larger area of effect multiplier for negative effects. Pigs have significant negative effects, and all the businesses, or rather all the production chain that shoots off of them also have negative effects. So I don't like to build too much around pigs. We have all of this space all over the island. We might as well make use of it. There's no reason to not spread out at this moment. Up here, this might be a good spot because I'm sure we're going to need more charcoal eventually too. We have some industry happening over here. We have 2 open slots. Mines can benefit from aqueducts, but honestly, unless I really need to maximize that later in the game, I am inclined to ignore aqueduct access up here and make this our weapons production area. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to need road access. And I think the best thing to do here, it wants to go this way with it. We're going to make this our weapon production up here at the very top. So we're just going to run a straight road there, and we need a road between here. Is this going to mess up our fertility? It's not. Excellent. So we're going to connect. That looks, eyeball test looks pretty good. Yeah, I did that well. Okay, so now we have a road. We need an iron mine. That's going to cost some of our plebeian workforce. That's okay. We have enough to cover it for now, although we're going to have to expand soon. Got our iron mine up. We can see the whole production line if we go over here. And what we want is weapons. We'll eventually get to armor, but for now we need weapons so we can build out our archers. Iron mine is up. We're going to need charcoal. We'll check our supplies on that in a minute. For now, no reason not to have it go straight to the furnace, and no reason for the furnace not to go straight to the weaponsmith. Bing, bang, boom. We've got our armament supply set up. That makes me happy. Let's see where we're at with coal. We have just enough coal to cover what we just did. So for now, no need to add another charcoal burner. That's another good thing. Less fire safety to deal with. Great. So we have that in place. We can go ahead, just so we don't forget about things, and so it's all ready to go. Go ahead and put in our barracks. We don't have to keep it close to our weapon production. It can go anywhere on the island. In fact, it'll eventually get some buffs that are beneficial to being near town. Like it'll do prestige and a few things like that. We can, and they're going to need to be deployed overseas as well. Will it fit? Of course, not quite, but it will fit right over here. We do kind of want it next to our population, though. We're going to have it just plop down right here for now. Tarragon likes that because he used to be a soldier. Makes total sense. He would be into that. Okay, so for 2 archers, we're going to need 20 weapons. We may, by default, the game gives us some weapons. We may already have what we need. Yes, they give us 25 by default. We have done everything we need to help out the Empress. We're going to have 2 archers get created. We're going to let them muster down here, and we're going to put them on a ship. Once they're ready, they'll go over to Diana, we'll turn in the quest, and our Empress will be happy with us, which is exactly what we want to happen. So, fantastic. Do we have our first shipment of olive oil yet? Probably not, because I've let time go by slowly. Let's speed things up. Let's see where... I'm going to keep doing that. These are kind of similar. Where's our ship at? Right now it doesn't have any cargo. It is on its way back. Probably from the capital. It just hasn't... Yeah, it has not dropped anything off yet. It's not done its first pickup because I've been too busy talking and not busy enough having the speed up to where things actually happen. So it's going to make its first pickup. Here's a tip for all people to enjoy. Make sure that your islands don't run out of materials by setting a minimum stock. Here we've already done it. We've set a minimum stock of 50. On the capital, you're not going to be sending things away very often, so I always recommend keep your minimum stock high in the capital. On your feeder islands, you're going to be sending stuff away a lot, but you still need to keep whatever you need for your population. So you can click on any item, all goods. It looks like I already did this at some point. Maybe I forgot about it. I already set it to 15, so anything above 15, it's going to grab it if it is involved in a trade route, and it's going to send it to the capital. So in a minute, we're going to see that happen. I can see our trade ship coming around the bend now, and it's going to deliver its first load over to the capital, which is what I want. Very good. Okay. What do we want to do now? We have all the stuff we need for our tier 2 population on its way. We are going to want to get to nobles, or not nobles. They call them, we established this earlier, they're actually called Equites. So we're going to make some promotions there. We want to make sure that we still have the plebeians necessary to run our current infrastructure. I'm sure we have plenty of space from soap and things like that to upgrade some more plebeians. Yeah, we have a lot. So we're going to go ahead and do that. What do we have here? Everything here has good coverage. This is maybe a little too much space between these 2 buildings, but that's alright. We can still work with it. Again, concrete roads are going to fix a lot of ills, so we'll go ahead, upgrade these 2 blocks. Even though they don't have absolute coverage, it'll still add significantly to our plebeian population. As soon as that olive oil arrives, our current plebeians are going to be happier. These needs will fill up, and then we'll be able to promote the residents to our Equites. So we're just going to kind of wait on that. In the meantime, up here comes the ship. Here comes the ship. Here comes the ship. And awesome, we now have olive oil, we have amphora, and our needs are starting to fill up. Exactly as promised. As soon as those get to these first bars, then we can do our upgrades. We're going to upgrade just enough to get some concrete going, because concrete, you can never produce too much concrete. I know I've said this about the other construction materials, don't be stingy. The one thing that applies the most to the don't be stingy rule, stingy, to the thing that produces... Let me just start over. You want to produce a crap ton of concrete. Alright? It's that simple. You're going to want roads. You're going to want aqueducts. Just about everything beyond tier 2 requires concrete. Romans are famous for their concrete. So do as the Romans do and produce a lot of freaking concrete. Alright. Time to upgrade. Again, I think these 2 blocks fit the best. Yeah, this block and this block. That's going to be good for now.
The swift steeds 4 noble leads.
Equus. He is an Equus, and he represents the Equites workforce. Exactly. Now that we have Tier 3 residents, we have the option to go to Albion. We're not going to go to Albion quite yet. We're still probably a few episodes away from that. I really want to get our Tier 3 residency set up and our capital in an excellent place before we go to Albion. So just bear with me. That's going to be something we do soon. Now that we're on our T3 residence, we have some additional capabilities. We have aqueducts that can be built. We can build theaters. We can do a lot of different things. We can do wine, which we have the fertility for right here on the island, and we're going to get that going as soon as we start the next episode. Cheese is something that we're going to have to import from Albion, so that's going to be a little bit farther down the road. A theater is something we're going to want soon because it greatly benefits all of our populace, not just our Tier 3 populace. So for now, we are going to put a cut in on this episode. We just got our second unit of archers to make the Empress happy. We're going to dive into all this stuff in the next episode. So for now, this is Tater signing off for Dire Strats Gaming, and I'll catch you in the next episode. See you later.